Another big ticket free agent off the books going to the Saints. Saints signed a couple of key free agents after the draft, which is very fascinating. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu, an LSU guy, returns home, and now you have Jarvis Landry, an LSU guy, returning to New Orleans, which is, it's fun. I mean, quite frankly, doesn't Landry feel like he's someone who was like perfect, like tailor-made for a Sean Payton type system? Now, it's, Pete Carmichael's system now, not Sean Payton's, but I'm imagining it'll be a very similar system to what we've seen in the past, and he seems like he's the perfect fit for this system. Now, there's a risk factor, right? I mean, Landry wasn't good last year. Landry, kind of one of his selling points has always been he stays incredibly healthy. Typically will give you, a good amount of games, and also will get you a decent amount of yards. The lowest amount of yards he's had in his season prior to last year was his rookie year, where he still had 758 yards. So he's been incredibly consistent over his career. Last year, just 570 in 12 games. So, again, he's still someone who has it. He's not a bad player even last year, but maybe not what we would expect. However, again, he's going to turn 30 next season, so he's still relatively young. He's still someone who I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt on for, one bad year, where, let's be honest, a lot of stuff went wrong for that Cleveland Browns offense. I mean, you saw how well Odell Beckham Jr. did once he, went somewhere else and got away from Baker. Now, a little bit different because we've seen Landry and Baker work well together, whereas we hadn't seen that with Odell. But still, it's an interesting point. And one thing that I just immediately thought of is like, man, we keep talking about, this bad New Orleans Saints receiving core. And while there's a lot of question marks, this could end up being really good. I mean, if Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry all work, this is going to be an amazing receiving core. First, Michael Thomas, who is, again, Michael Thomas can be awesome, right? We haven't seen Michael Thomas in a bit, but last we saw him play a full season, he won Offensive Player of the Year. Chris Olave, they clearly really liked. They gave up a lot of draft capital to get. I wasn't quite as high on him coming out of the draft, but I still like him. And, a first-round talent wide receiver who could be pretty awesome. And now Jarvis Landry, who I think can definitely kind of complete that receiving core. He can be a slot guy. I mean, all those guys can be slot guys. All those guys can be outside guys, which is kind of cool. And what I think this also does is it kind of frees some of these other players up to be sort of just role players. You don't have to be, Marquez Callaway is going to go from being at times a number one wide receiver to now he can just do what he's good at. You don't need him to do everything. He can just be kind of do what he does well. Traquan Smith, another example. Those guys can be burners, can be guys who can get open deep down the field. You can let them do that stuff, and it just completes this receiving core. So there is a risk factor. There absolutely is with Jarvis Landry. And there is a risk factor with Michael Thomas because we haven't seen him play in a while. There is a risk factor with Chris Olave because he's a rookie. So all three of those guys have a risk factor, but let's be honest, the way the Saints operate, they typically know what they're doing. I would bet on this working out as opposed to not working out. Should be very exciting. This Saints offense could be really fun. And I haven't even mentioned Alvin Kamara, who's someone who can be definitely a threat in the passing game, even Taysom Hill as well. So a lot of guys for Jameis Winston to throw to. And just when we felt like, oh man, are the Saints on their way out? You look at this roster, I don't think they're on their way out. I think the Saints could still be good. And this is kind of that one last domino I feel like they really needed to have fall. And now that it has fallen, I just think that it's just a great move. And I'm definitely going to be a huge fan of this move for the Saints continuously are one of the smartest teams in football, and this is what they're doing. So, it's, pretty fascinating, and we'll see how all this works out. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Landry to the Saints? Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.